I think we should actually just start the show that way. You know?
Welcome to the One About Godzilla
Right.
Movies. I'm Caleb. That's Brian. No more jokes and japes. Let's get after it. Today we're discussing Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla from 2002. And
What a movie.
what a movie. What a movie.
So fresh in my mind.
So fresh. It's like we just watched it just now. So, hey, how you doing, Brian? How's it?
Hey, you know what? I think this is relevant. I'll say I'm doing pretty good. Don't think I've puked in maybe 4 or 5 years. So I think I'm doing really great.
I don't think I've puked in 4 or 5 hours. No. It's close though.
So yeah, so we watched this movie. Well, I watched this movie a week ago, and then Caleb was not doing so hot. So we postponed a few times, and here we are.
A full week later.
Yeah, so I am relying on my notes and a lot of fun that I had watching this movie, but it's not as fresh as it is for Caleb today. So it's unfortunate.
It's all right. I'll carry
But
us.
the good thing is it's a really great movie, and you should watch it anyways. So it doesn't even matter if there's gaps in what I'm saying about it, because it's great and you should watch it.
Because there are usually gaps in what we say about it anyways. So.
And gaps in, any thread of continuity in our conversation.
Yeah.
Should we address the hat you're wearing?
Yeah, so we should address the hat I'm wearing. If you have not watched the film yet, then it won't make any sense to you. But everyone who pilots or is part of the Mechagodzilla team in this movie wears this exact hat, and I have a replica. And one time I was wearing it, and some old dude who clearly had bad eyes and was actually wearing an actual veterans like Vietnam vet hat or something came up and was like, "Thank you for your service." And I said, "Well, thank you for yours too."
And you said, Kiryu.
Arigato.
Wow.
I said, Nani?
Semper Kiryu. You should just, in the future, you should just say Semper Kiryu.
Semper Kiryu.
Kiryu.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one. It's very new and cutting edge. It's from 2002.
Semper Kiryu.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is
so you already mentioned
Japanese Xenomorph Special Defense Force. Is that what it is? JXSDF is what that stands for.
Is it? Is the X Xenomorph?
I believe so.
The same name as the aliens?
Let's find out together.
Oh, yeah. Let's.
JXSDF.
And by that I mean, you look it up.
Meaning.
While you do that, let me give us a little breakdown, eh?
Stands for
Little
the
summary?
Japanese Xenomorph Self-Defense Force, a fictional military branch of the Japanese military.
Huh.
Special branch of the Ground Self-Defense Force.
Fictional, of course.
Yeah.
But established in this movie, or at least introduced in this movie.
So, as long as we're here...
I believe.
Wait, where did that word go? Oh, okay. So, Xenomorph, according to Reddit, Xenomorph has its roots in Greek, xeno meaning strange, and morph meaning form. So it's literally the word xenomorph means strange form, kind of like how kaiju means strange beast in Japanese. So
Got it.
not original to the Alien series, but definitely made most popular by.
Popularized by, for sure.
As seen on TV. Title. Yeah, dude. So I got the hat. How could you not get the hat? I feel like I got this hat. We lived in this house, so I've had this hat for 4 years now, at least.
Okay, you've just been waiting for this episode.
Yeah. I wear it all the time.
At least on camera.
I wear it all the time,
Yeah.
but I've been saving it for camera.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. Side question: we both have very large heads.
Yes.
Famously, is it just a large hat, or like how is it a hat you bought on the internet and it fits your head?
It is my hair is going to look ridiculous. It's a 5-panel, or I don't know. There's like a weird extra, like the light's going to be weird and camera and everything, but there's like this whole panel here is an addition to. So it is kind of just like a larger hat construction in general, I guess.
Brother, if you've got a link.
I think I just got lucky. But I will see if I can find it again.
Yeah. If you find it, let me know. That's cool. Not actually less because of the Godzilla nerddom, which is a good reason. Oh, hey, look at this.
It's on the official Godzilla store. $25.
Really?
Yes, sir. Link incoming.
More so because I have a huge head and I have so many hats that really don't fit my head. And so I just always wear this one that I'm wearing right now. Yeah. So more options.
Yeah, no, I mean, it fits great. And I'm on I have 2 of the little things done. So.
Yeah, there you go. I'm usually on 1 or 2. This hat. So this hat, I've talked about this hat before from mammoth headwear.
Oh, yeah.
I'll show the camera. You can tell the difference based on
for sure. Yeah, you have all of those done.
How many?
That hat is gigantic.
Yes, it is, and it fits perfectly on all the way out. But it can go larger, and that's what she said. So in Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla,
yeah, dude.
Which came out in 2002, Godzilla attacks Japan and is confronted by Kiryu, a mechanized weapon built using, spoiler territory, the skeleton of the original 1954 Godzilla, which is sick. Kiryu, we would call it Mechagodzilla, goes berserk during its first battle with Godzilla due to residual memories in the bones, they say DNA, forcing its shutdown. Kiryu is later repaired and relaunched, again fighting Godzilla as he attacks Japan. The battle ends when Kiryu drags Godzilla out to sea and sinks with him. And then there's a bit of a cliffhanger ending. So, implying, despite this era being a lot of one-off movies, implying that there may be a continuing connection to the next film or series of films.
And there is. Spoiler alert.
Seems obvious, but I haven't seen the next 2 films, so I can't say for sure.
Neat.
But you can.
Dude. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know if you looked into like who the director was at all or any of that kind of stuff, but I had to once I started watching this with my modern eyes. Title.
Yeah, I did not. So there's 2 directors, yes? Looks like.
There's a special effects director right? And then the regular director. I've got Masaki Tezuka, written by Wataru Mimura, and special effects by Yuichi Kikuchi.
Yeah, on IMDb, it lists as directors Masaki and also Kazuki Amori.
Really?
Umori? Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, who worked on Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, and some other things. So yeah, you probably know about it more than me, but this is our newest entry into this era in the Millennium. So very, very cool. Very cool take on Mechagodzilla. This is a fun movie. It's got a pretty good structure. It's not perfect, but
perfect.
It's got a good flow. Yeah. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it, man. Some really cool moments.
So I will say right off the bat, I started watching it and I was like, I started noticing all of the Evangelion references, and I was like, okay, is this another one of those? I
saw that in the comments. Some people were making on Letterboxd about the movie. They were all kind of referencing that.
Yeah. It's like, how many Evangelion references do you want?
Yeah, the answer is yes. Seems.
I'll kind of point them out as we go through the whole movie. But the director, I started watching. It was like, man, Evangelion references left and right, blah blah blah. It even kind of like has a feel a little bit like, did this guy work on it? Like, no, nobody directly involved in this film ever worked on Evangelion, but people that worked on this film worked on other Toho projects that also worked with people that eventually went to work on Evangelion. There's a film called Bye Bye Jupiter that a bunch of people from this movie worked on, and a bunch of people from the Ultraman series also worked on before, and it's all before all of this stuff. So, but this guy, Masaki Tezuka, was the director of basically all of the Ultraman series, all of the movies and all the TV series he was the director of. And he was also the director of Godzilla versus Megaguirus. So this is his return to directing. And so then I started just like, I was like, okay, but the Evangelion references, and I ended up on like a bit of a tangent a couple days ago about Evangelion over some other things, and came across a comment on Reddit somewhere of somebody asking, like, I'm so new to all of this, like, I'm learning about Evangelion in 2025 or 2026. What was it? Is there anybody here who was like there when it was happening in the late 90s, early 2000s? Was it as big then as it is now? Blah, blah, blah. And there were like 4 or 5 people that replied along the lines of like, it's like, it is like from the time it arrived, it is Evangelion has been a huge thing, and it has never not been huge, basically, in Japan. And so I think that it was just such a phenomenon at that point that they were like, we have to. It's a Japanese thing, it seems, to like really like pop culture, what's popular. We've seen Godzilla in the 60s do random dances and like things that ended up being linked to random pop culture stuff. Like, so it was just kind of cool to put that kind of like aspect or like kind of lens on it a little bit of just like, this really is like, this movie is just such a love letter to Ultraman and to Neon Genesis Evangelion. And it made it that much cooler to watch for me after I read that a little bit, like just like enjoyed it that much more. So, and Kiryu is so like Unit 1, the big, like the main unit in Evangelion that goes berserk. Like the whole idea, even though they're using different like ways of kind of getting sentience and life into a robot, like the Avas are built off of angels, and then the pilot's mothers, which is what you learn way, way later in the series. Like their plugs are built out of their mother's wombs, which is why they have to be the pilots of those units. And all of the pilots have dead mothers. It's really weird. Anyways, like using Godzilla's skeleton and his essence basically to like power Mechagodzilla, that whole idea is just so, I don't know. And like Kiryu being really temperamental and randomly not working, and they needed like I just love all of the like, it's like the dude who had just watched Evangelion. It was like, we need to make this part of the movie. It was so cool. But yeah. They introduce Kiryu, they're going through that whole thing, and like they put the rocket backpack on him, and it's Unit 1 purple. It's the same color purple as Ava Unit 1. I was just like, okay, cool. We're just really gonna go there. Like all of the references.
This movie was made for you.
It really was. It really was.
Love it.
So let's get in, because I have so many things I could say, but I want to. I kind of want to do the rest in order.
Yeah, so. It's fresher in your mind than me, so you can handle the sequence, and I have a lot of notes. Okay. But the opening scene is like almost like this typhoon thing going on. There's like a big storm. I thought feels like a dumb comment, but the rain effects just looked really cool to me. I don't know. Every once in a while, when it's like raining in a scene in a movie, especially like on what looks like a set, I'm like, how are they doing that? Like they're using rain machines. Like I don't know.
Like
It's
how
just
aren't
like
they ruining equipment
intense.
while they're doing that too? Like,
yeah. I don't know. So I don't know why I wrote that down, but I did. So good rain effects.
yeah, real great.
Would recommend.
Essentially, yeah, this is like you mentioned kind of in the summary that this is a reboot of the franchise or a reboot of the story again, and saying that like Godzilla was defeated in 1954 by the Oxygen Destroyer. And this typhoon that strikes in 1999 is not actually a typhoon. It's Godzilla appearing. He just kind of comes out of the storm and then ashore. And that's about as much of I think of an explanation of where he came from as we get in this whole movie. I really think it's just like he just.
I think they use the term a new Godzilla or something.
Right? Yeah, they just call him a new Godzilla, but there isn't any like we're blaming it on one thing or whatever. Like.
Yep.
Yeah, and so there's like this whole attack from that thing. They've got this like anti-Megasaurus force thing or whatever it was, the AMF. They get some cannons and all this kind of stuff, and he just like blows right through that.
Yeah, so they had these so I actually learned something watching this movie. I've never in my life heard the term maser. M-A-S-E-R. Never heard of it. It's a term that they use in this movie. The trucks are rolling in. They're not lasers, they're masers. And I was like, that's a made up word, right? And I Google it. I'm like, oh, this is literally a word that I just don't know. Yeah. And it's like
the maser cannon.
Whatever the acronym for laser is, it's the same idea except that it's microwave energy.
Interesting.
So they have these trucks. We've seen the format of these trucks many times before. They military trucks, they roll in and they have like these sort of satellite dish things and they're like zapping towards Godzilla, but they specifically called them maser trucks. And it's sort of like this lightning type energy that they're firing at Godzilla. It is not effective at this point in the film, of course. But
Type 90 maser cannons. Fun.
Yeah, so obviously like the trucks and what's happening in the movie is fictional, but the word maser and what it means is a real thing.
Yeah.
Real thing. So I was like just Googling that when I was watching the movie. Nice. There's a shot early on in this movie. Yeah, there's a. Why'd you say that?
For a link to that.
Oh, sure. Gotcha. I was like, did I say something wrong? There's a shot like during these opening sequences I don't know, they're like send in the maser trucks or whatever they say. I don't know. The trucks are rolling in. And they have like this really low camera angle, like in an alley or something, kind of looking up at the side of these big trucks rolling by. And I wrote it down simply because we've seen these trucks. They didn't necessarily call them maser trucks or whatever. We've seen these military trucks with like the satellite dish weapon things on them. This in like the entire franchise of Godzilla, we've seen these specific trucks, even going back to the 70s, I want to say. Maybe it was first in the 80s. I can't remember. But they've always been obviously like toy trucks, miniatures. The way they've shot them, they've done their best, but you can tell that they're working with miniature trucks, miniature city, all these kinds of things. I don't know what these trucks were, if they like took a truck and dressed it up to look like the thing. All I know is like the shooting angle, it like actually looked like a real big truck rolling in to fight Godzilla for the first time since 1954. It's like, yes, that's how you convince the audience that this fictional truck with this fictional weapon on it is real. It's all about like human POV looking up at something as if it was like driving by, It was just, these little things. the kind of things you'd be taking notes on if you like were hired to go make a Godzilla movie. You'd be like, all right, what's the best versions of all the little things in all the Godzilla movies that I would make note of and do it that way? Do it all of the right ways in the same movie instead of one improvement per movie. You know,
we're lucky.
One improvement per movie is a great title. Tippy to a lemon tree. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really great.
Yeah, no, I love it. And it's like you said, it's another it's a new version of Scale. It's a new version of I love it. It's cool. So this new Godzilla shows up. They try and fight him. That the Mazers kind of I feel like they just kind of work in driving him off, but that's about as effective as they are. And eventually they get Godzilla to go away. And then there's this team of people put together. I mean, this anti monster force or whatever has kind of been dormant for a while. And so this guy, Igarashi, puts a team together to start developing a new weapon to defend the people of Japan. And one of these people, it's a new anti-Godzilla weapon. And one of them is this dude named Yuhara. And he is our guy that you said this earlier, but what did I say before? It's the as you know Bob. No, he's not the as you know Bob, but Yuhara is the scientist that knows the thing that is unique to the problem that they need to solve in this movie. So he's the dude.
And pull him in.
Yeah, that they're hey, we know about you. So he has successfully recreated the extinct trilobite using robotics and some living components controlled by what they call DNA computers, which is a pretty funny, pretty funny thing to think about now. Anyways, so he gets all these people together.
This was 2002.
Yeah. Now, I mean, nanobots are a thought, but to call them DNA computers and not nanobot, I don't know. It's funny. So Igarashi shows all these people. He kind of is just well, I've gathered you here today, grand reveal, and it is the skeleton of Godzilla in a giant tank of anti-bac. It just reminds me of when you go to the barber shop and they have all the combs suspended in that blue that blue liquid.
Oh my gosh. What is the difference between Godzilla skeleton and a barber's comb? We can't tell.
Something about a light bulb.
I'll be here all week.
Try the veal. So he essentially says hey, Yuhara, we want to take spinal cell information out of this skeleton and use it to develop this bio-robot anti-Godzilla thing. And he goes back and forth about it. He refuses, and he's talking about it with his daughter at home, his daughter Sarah, who we're introduced to, and she is probably, how old do you think she is in that movie? 12? 10?
I'd go as low as 10, 8, 9, 10. If I were to guess her age. She doesn't look very old.
Yeah. So she's somewhere between 8 and 10.
But she's hanging around a lot.
Yeah, she's around a lot. And
in the places where her dad is.
Well, and so the thing is that her mother died during childbirth. And so she kind of has to she stays with her dad. It almost seems like she doesn't go to school. And
there was a school bus scene with her being dropped off, but it seemed like she was being dropped off at the lab or something.
And essentially he's I can't go do this research because I need to take care of you, and there's nobody else to be able to take care of you. And if I'm never home, that's not going to work. I need to be here when you get home from school and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And this is happening while they're eating dinner. And then somebody knocks on the door and they're hey, we're so-and-so. And we'd love for you and your daughter to come stay, basically live at this laboratory and do the development. And then, so it's kind of answered for them.
Yeah.
And so then we just do a little time jump. We've gone from 1999 to 2003.
Okay. So I'm looking through my notes here. I think this was maybe at the beginning of the film, but there's a scene with like, I think it's probably post the first attack. I really like there's a scene with all these displaced people just holing up in a gym. This was at the beginning, I think. And I really like that because we see the effects of destruction from Godzilla a lot, but we don't always see like the human aftermath of like, you know, several large buildings just were destroyed. Well, people were living there, so now where are they? You know, and just like having, it's such a classic scene in a lot of movies, like people like holing up in like a large gym in like sleeping bags on the ground,
and there's people over on here getting
we've seen that scene 1,000 times,
and children running around,
that kind of a thing.
And
it was just one of those moments where you're like, wow, like why hasn't this been in a Godzilla movie before? Like this seems obvious. Another win. The background of this gym scene, it's like a 2-second clip. I don't know why. There's like a 6-year-old boy who like walks up to an officer and hands him this little baggie with white powder, and then it just moves on to the next scene. I'm like, what?
I missed that. What?
It looked like almost bluish. I'm like, why are we having a little boy hand meth to an officer? Yeah, it was weird. Yeah. And then there's some other things I wrote down, but when do we have the flashbacks talking about other kaiju? This has to be at the beginning. I think it was one of the coolest things in the movie.
Yeah.
It was basically like an explainy sequence about other kaiju who have made appearances and been dealt with or defeated. Some of them were known kaiju, but then they like invented some like new kaiju. It was almost a little bit like, remember The Incredibles? They're like listing off like all the superheroes that have been defeated or gone missing. And they like do like a little, there's like sort of like archival footage of like them in action kind of a thing. But it was like this. They had literally had what was it? It was like a Bigfoot kaiju that they just had this random shot.
Like
I forget what they called it, but it was obviously just Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Sure, that's a kaiju.
Yeah, it's basically like directly after the attack of the new Godzilla. It's the Prime Minister and then this guy who's the Minister of Science and Technology, Hayato Igarashi, and they begin discussing countermeasures. And then it's the, as you know, Bob, like Japan has been defenseless and blah 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 against Godzilla, the first wake of Godzilla in 1954, and we did the oxygen destroyer, and then there was Mothra, and then there was they go through,
and the flashback stuff was like really cool.
I agree.
It was very explainy. The acting of this like summary stuff was like very phoned in, I think. Stood out to me. Everything else was fine, but like, I don't know. Just like one scene where they're like, "You're not paying me enough, so I'm just gonna say what you told me to say to the camera."
Do we really have to do this kind of thing? Like,
yeah, it was a little tough, but
so it's
anyways. Those are some things I'd written.
So they
down.
just kind of like catch you back. They catch you up, and they're like, "Okay, you know, we've developed all these things over the years to fight these other kaiju, but now we need a new weapon." Against Godzilla, and so they develop it, and at the same time they're always like tracking Godzilla. We see a lot of like kind of newer technology of like we like are using sonar
maps with dots and
heat maps and all this kind of like random stuff that like show where he is, and they're tracking him. And so as they're presenting Mechagodzilla, presenting Kiryu and showing off all of its weapons and all this stuff, it's kind of an alarm goes off and kind of alerts that Godzilla is approaching Tokyo Bay, and so they scramble the team, get him into the air, scramble, and yeah, we just get our first little fight here between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, and so they're fighting, and then they lose control of Mechagodzilla out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's right when Godzilla roars. He does his classic roar, and something just goes haywire in the mech suit. And there is supposedly DNA involved in what's powering the motion, and not necessarily autonomy, but like it goes autonomous. It like stops functioning, starts attacking the wrong thing, and they end up like having to shut it down.
Yeah. And it is, so they do this really cool, like trippy, like, because Godzilla roars and they cut to the eye of Kiryu and it like swirls and like acid trip like back, and we get flashbacks to 54 again, and just random like hard cuts of Godzilla destroying stuff in 54 and then the bomb going off and ending his life. And then it comes back to the present, and yeah, it just starts destroying stuff, runs straight through a building. And this is the first time in the movie that I thought, like, okay, if you're going to do the Evangelion thing, then do all of the Evangelion things, because they have, they do this thing with the DNA and they have it run through a building, and then you have a character say it's gone berserk, which is a term that is the term used for Evo 1 when they lose it in the first episode of
Really?
Evangelion. Yeah, they say like, oh, Evo 1's gone berserk, and it runs through a building just like Evangelion. And so my biggest thing with that whole thing and the power thing in general was that I wish they had done do you remember how Unit 1 or the Evangelion had to have like umbilical cords for power? That was like back into the ground, basically, because they would like come up. They had all those special cool like underground launch bay things, and so Unit 1 just like pops up from underground and out of a building, or like a building pops up and it's an elevator, and the one side of the building opens and Unit 1 steps out, and they basically, it looks like it almost looks like the charger for like a Tesla or whatever, like into the back of the Ava, and that is a giant power tether back into the ground. And as long as you're on that, you can fight forever. But once that tether is disconnected, you have 2 minutes to be on your own. And so that's how. So like when the Ava goes berserk, they just have to wait the 2 minutes until it runs out of power. And here they like had to come up with some stupid, like somebody kicked something or what. I don't even remember how they shut down Kiryu.
I can't remember either.
It says here they had to wait until about an hour until it ran out of energy. And so
I remember them saying how long it had left until it ran out of power.
Yeah.
Like they were going to wait it out.
Eventually shuts down, walks through a building, shuts down as his energy reserves are completely depleted.
Dude, the walking through the building was like the coolest shot in the entire movie. They spent many dollars on it.
Mucho bucks.
Not dollars, but equivalent Japanese currency.
Yen. Is it yen?
So cool.
I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Very, very cool. I just, my biggest gripe with this design is that they went this futuristic, but there is no, I don't know. There's never. It's kind of like in Gundam. They never talk about how these things are powered, or they never really directly deal with where these things get their power from. Is it nuclear fusion? Is it like what is powering this thing, and how can it be so nimble if it's batteries? Because batteries weigh a lot. To power something that big, even if you spread batteries out across the entire structure. And I know Mechagodzilla / Kiryu is huge, but like it's weird for me to be taken out of something in these movies, but it's that kind of thing that it's just like you went so
rubbing off on you.
Well, it's just that you went so hard on all of this and on like making it this cool design. We're gonna do the DNA thing with the original Godzilla skeleton, but like I don't know, just give me the umbilical cord and then you can still do your radiation power thing because the cord gets cut or something again later. The only other thing I had to say about this was after this happens and he goes berserk and they're having all those meetings and everything, and Igarashi, the science and technology minister or whatever, do you think that he's going to he will personally take this responsibility? He says it so many times. I will take this responsibility personally. I personally take responsibility for this. I personally take responsibility for this action. I personally, like, at least 15 times in a 2-minute span. And it's just like, dude, get a new line. Hey, guy, we know you're sorry, but yeah, I don't know. It's just funny to me.
He said it a lot. Okay, cool.
There's the whole bit also with like, so you've got Yahara, who's the girl pilot, super badass, like that.
There's a whole story with her, yeah.
Yeah, her, and like she kind of connects with Sarah, and there's a like kind of some woo spirituality kind of stuff going on there. And Sarah, you know, like kind of conveying to Yahara that no life is worthless. Everybody's here for a purpose. And
which is because she's saying some very, emo depressive stuff. She's kind of bent on revenge, and it doesn't seem like she really plans on coming back from the fight. She just wants to beat Godzilla.
Yeah, like essentially Godzilla took her brother from her, and she is so bent on revenge for that she doesn't care if she makes it through it or not, which is kind of dark for the series, but is not kind of dark for Japanese stuff in general, like at least with like fighting and stuff. Like, I don't know, in the animes that I've watched, things like Dragon Ball or One Piece or whatever, like that kind of like, I don't care, I have to see this through to the end. We see it in Marvel movies too. Like, I don't care, I'll go off myself for this kind of thing. So, yeah, what's your next set of notes here?
So, well, there's a couple things that aren't like time related, but yeah, I was excited to talk about walking through the building. I was thinking that was later in the film, but it's when it was berserk, huh? Which I guess it makes sense,
I think they do it again.
They
do it again in during the last battle with Godzilla too.
Okay. Yeah, there's in some of the fighting with the kind of push and pull, there's the fights in this movie are very kinetic in a unique way, in a modern way. A way that really shows the weight of what's happening. So, there's a moment much later where Godzilla gets flung. And just like the way he hits the ground and the camera shakes and like the effects, it feels like there's a significant weight to the impact. I don't know. Maybe it comes from like,
I have a feeling that's
maybe they had someone who does animation kind of like speaking into it, because people who do animation know how to like make something feel weighty simply by the frame by frame of how you're showing that.
Yeah. Well, and I really want to watch some more Ultraman stuff, because that kind of stuff felt like from the Ultraman that I've seen, I feel like that's what that came from. That like you're not just observing this from a screen, but you are there in person with this kind of feeling. I've gotten that from the Ultraman stuff that I've seen. And that's this director. He did all the Ultraman stuff. So, yeah.
Okay.
But it's a good call, though. I think we noted that in Mechagodzilla as well. Same director of just this, like, it's a new version of realism in these fights that we haven't seen before, of like the camera moving.
Yeah.
So,
there's at least one or two shots. There's this idea of like Godzilla backing up. He's like walking backwards. It's like if we were playing football and you ran at me to like, collision, like push. Not like sumo wrestling necessarily is what I'm referring to, but like the idea of two guys pushing, like two strong forces. And there's almost like a Godzilla is like taking backward steps to be ready.
Yeah.
To like be ready for what's coming at him. And I don't know. I've never seen Godzilla like literally walk backwards before.
Yeah, kind of like brace for what's coming.
Yeah, brace for impact, but it wasn't just like, lock legs. It was like he took a couple steps backwards to like be ready. It was just, I don't know if it happened multiple times or just once, but like these new things like always help. The music in this movie, pretty great. I have like a pro and a con. A pro, there's like kind of this new theme. I love the idea of like a theme that we hear over and over again. It's something that we don't see in movies anymore, really. But it's cool to see that in this movie. We have whatever this theme is. It keeps coming up like it's almost like the Jack SDF theme. There's like almost like a heroic. Maybe it's supposed to be like the Kiryu theme or something, but it seems to play every time there's like the team is having a moment, or they're like, all right, to your stations, everyone, like we're doing this, that kind of stuff. And that's great. What I don't really understand is the other theme, which is a reused theme from the last movie. It's like a Godzilla theme, an evil Godzilla theme, and it was in my head last week. Then I was gonna sing it, but I forgot it. But it's definitely from the last movie, and so I'm like, well, there's no continuity between these films, but we're reusing this musical theme. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Real. It would make more sense if you were using like the 1954 theme. Like reusing that makes a little more sense, but I can't think of the theme right now. I'm literally just gonna Google it. I don't care. It's fine.
Tippy-toe lemon tree. It's not that one.
It's not that. Let's see, what is this? Oh, it's this one. That's the theme that goes dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Goes up to the seventh note. Music. Yeah, that was in the last movie. That's like what the theme is from. I don't think it was before that.
It's the new theme.
Which, yeah, I don't know. It's a great theme. I'm just like, we've established that these movies aren't connected to each other. Whatever. Dumb criticism. But anyways, like maybe we'll call it, so what I call it, the other theme, I labeled it Kiryu Nintendo coded music. I was listening to it. It really sounds like it'd be like some kind of Nintendo theme. Yes. If you like watch it again, like it's in that world somehow. Like it feels like it'd be in Smash Brothers or something if they added Mechagodzilla to Smash Brothers. Dude, imagine if they added Godzilla and Mechagodzilla to Smash Brothers. That'd be sick. I mean, they'd have to be mini or something, but yeah, they'd have to be like the miniature version or some other thing. I also wrote down, I don't remember when this conversation was taking place. It's, I guess, in the realm of politics, but there's this idea of, I want to say they announced that they were working on an anti-Godzilla weapon, but maybe they had unveiled it, maybe they hadn't. It's before the fighting started, but there's this idea of, hey, these other countries around the world are expressing concern. Could this weapon you're developing have potential use against our countries? That's another one of those like, hey, duh. Why have we not explored this before? These movies have been so like Japan-centric, which makes sense, but they've been developing anti-Godzilla weapons in many different eras of Godzilla, and never once has it come up like other countries being concerned that such a things are being developed, and hey, could this be used against us in some way? Like, that's kind of interesting.
And then to see the like relatively modern equivalent of that with like Shin Godzilla, like almost immediately after the first attack, there's pressure from the United States of what are you going to do, and we're going to commit it. Like there are already bombers on the way. We like you don't have time. We like the United States just push like. Yeah, or even like sidebar, I learned that my new TV upstairs has Philips Hue sync. I think we talked about that. So I watched the legendary Godzilla King of the Monsters, the one with Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan.
Okay.
And like the fight scenes between Godzilla and Ghidorah with like just blue and like yellow, like zipping over the ceiling, dude. It's so cool.
Nice.
Anyways, there's at the beginning of that movie, Dr. Serizawa and a couple of the people are like they're on like in a hearing in Congress or something about like the kaiju and Monarch and their like failure to stop certain things and how little they know and blah 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 blah, like the modern equivalent of this kind of idea of like, hey, there are these monsters running around. What does the rest of the world think about this kind of thing? So, yeah.
I'm going to really enjoy like rewatching the MonsterVerse after we finish this era.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
you are.
Also, is it Ken Watanabe who's playing the name Serizawa?
Yeah.
Serizawa?
Yeah,
Nice.
Ken Watanabe.
Throwback.
Dr. Serizawa. Yeah.
The homage. That kind of catches me up to where we were talking about. So they shut down Kiryu, and then I don't remember what happens.
So essentially they shut down the program and are like, we're going to have to figure out another way to beat him. Meanwhile, the team, like they do all these repairs, upgrades, etc. on Kiryu. And so it's kind of like it's a bit of a montage deal. Like there is a whole bunch of just like kind of fast shots and progress being conveyed and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. Again, another maybe like a first for these movies, or maybe not something done very often of like, hey, we're going to actually show the passage of time and try and convey that there are large chunks of time going by here. Whereas like some Godzilla movies feel like they happen over the span of 6 hours, but it's actually like several days. It's supposed to be several days, So, and there's this whole thing with Yuhara, and we talked about it briefly, of trying to get revenge for her brother. All of these very Japanese feelings of like, I am not going to bring pride to my country and my family if I don't finish this fight well, that kind of stuff. And Sarah, the daughter, just being like, no, like every life matters. You need to stay here. We want, like people, essentially like we like you. You should, like fight, but don't try and die, basically, which is, to get really, really real for a second, something that I identify with kind of deeply. So I like that part of the movie. I like that message and then just kind of like that idea. And eventually we get to the point where like Godzilla's attacking, and we don't really have any better options, and we need to save Tokyo. And, it's not Yuhara. It's the dude who's like the captain of the JXSDF, like captain of Kiryu squad, goes to Igarashi and is like, "Sir, we have to launch this. It's fixed. It's safe. We don't really have another choice." And there's that scene where they're like wherever they are in that building, and they're surrounded by all those people, and Igarashi just kind of like walks away, walks down these steps, and all of his men following him, and the commander's standing at the top of the steps, and Igarashi stops at the bottom of the stairs and says, like ready your team, launch the thing. And he goes, I will personally take responsibility for this. And so
You're like you said
they
that.
scramble Kiryu, fly him over Tokyo, and they essentially like just kind of I don't know. They're like we don't have time to. I don't know. For some reason, they decide that they can't fly Mechagodzilla all the way in using the white heron plane things or whatever. And so they cut the cables, rocket boosters come out of the side of Mechagodzilla, and he flies into Tokyo, and we begin our final battle. And so they're fighting, they're brawling. Kiryu tries to, they charge up the absolute zero cannon after a warning of like, hey, we're at 46% power. We need to do this now or we don't have a chance. So we get to the point that you mentioned. Kiryu grabs Godzilla by the tail somehow and like swings him around, throws him across Tokyo, and then begins charging up the absolute zero cannon in his chest, which is it's like the new age version of the oxygen destroyer bomb, except for they're going to freeze him. And it's also like a mace laser at the same time or whatever. It's just kind of all kinds of really cool stuff. And so as absolute zero is charging and Kiryu, I am so angry at myself. My speakers have been unmuted this whole entire time. I've been hearing myself echo occasionally. That's really weird. So this episode might sound funny. Anyways, no, I can fix that. I can fix that.
We have the technology.
As the absolute zero cannon is charging, Godzilla's laying there on the ground, apparently unconscious or something. And like as Yahara hits the button to fire the laser, we see Godzilla like wake up and he just atomic blast real quick across the ground, and it like hits Mechagodzilla in the chest, forcing him like backwards and around the other way. And then we see like 3 buildings just get shot through with the absolute zero laser and freeze and shatter and disappear. It was amazing. They just like vaporized these 3 buildings completely.
Yeah, they just disappear very quickly. Yeah.
And so from here, then we find out, okay, like that was our power. We're out, but we missed Godzilla. And so like while...
Yeah. By the way, the atomic breath, all the lighting, like the backlighting and everything, this whole sequence is S tier. It's very
I didn't notice it. I don't know if you noticed this or not. I have a note here about, but like the more Godzilla uses his atomic blast in that final fight, the longer it takes to like charge up and be ready to pop off. And he's caught waiting a couple times, like waiting, and then Kiryu's able to like get an attack off. So I thought that was kind of a cool like adaptation of like early in the fight, he can charge that up real quick and blast, but as it goes on, that it's like the recharge takes longer. Kind of a cool addition to, like introducing a cooldown essentially on his abilities.
Yeah.
And so, and so it's like, okay, well, we need to do this cannon charge again. There's this, again, so they do this thing where like, okay, we're going to divert all of the power from Tokyo and we're going to radiate it via satellites on the ground up to the airplane in the air, the White Heron, and then they're going to take all that power they received and radiate it back down to the ground to Mechagodzilla. And if you're going to do that, give it an umbilical cord. Like just, I already said all that. I'm still angry about it. I apologize. But also, boy howdy, do I wish that's how power worked.
Yeah, that was on my notes for
things to change.
The wireless power thing. Yeah, I'm like, all right. You've lost me.
I wish that's how that worked. Maybe it will someday, but like, goodness. And I thought it was a cool idea though. They're like, yeah, we'll use the spines on its back, and that'll be that's the radiation exception waves or whatever. So they charge him up. Yuhara lands her plane, climbs into the Mechagodzilla, and begins piloting it from the inside because she has to like repair something on the inside of it as well. So she gets Mechagodzilla going again. They recharge it. She is charging the cannon. Godzilla's attacking. He somehow like, the dude that is flying the other plane that is still left, in order to like buy time for Yuhara to charge the absolute zero cannon, he flies the white heron into Godzilla's mouth just before he like pops off his atomic blast, and that stops him from doing it.
He's like holding it in his teeth.
Yeah, he like holds it in his mouth.
And he's like, hey, he can't use his atomic breath right now. This is your chance.
And so she charges that up and like rocket blasts forward, grabs Godzilla, rips the plane out of his mouth and throws it. And then the pilot like ejects in the most glorious early 2000s green screen, like motion, like,
flying
oh my
away.
gosh, it was so funny. Explosion, and he grabs Godzilla by the mouth and then like hits the rocket and just kind of like pushes them both out of Tokyo into the bay. And then as they crash into the water, the absolute zero cannon goes off, and big plume of
It's like icicles go
water
flying
out of
up.
the ocean, and it freezes and everything stays for a second, and then that all shatters, and up stands Godzilla. And he roars.
Who is, in fact, still
just
there.
completely unharmed, and he just swims away. And yeah.
Cliffhanger?
Yeah, Yuhara surfaces. She's fine. Cliffhanger.
Everybody's fine.
We get a really fun little post-credit scene that looks like a shot from Evangelion of like the bridge in front of, it's like the repair bay or the hangar of Mechagodzilla, and Yuhara standing on the bridge just kind of looking up at Kiryu. And what's his face and his daughter Sarah come out. They do some cute stuff, and yeah. That's a wrap.
There's some moments in the fight where they're almost like grappling and they're pushing. It's like almost like a wrestling thing. Almost like a little bit of how like sumo wrestlers where they're like, but anyways, I don't remember the moment, but there's like a engage moment where for the grapple, and I just wrote down in all caps, kaiju hugs. Because for like half a second, if you just like spin it a little different, it looks like they're just hugging.
I love that. Until
they continue to fight. Kaiju hugs.
Title.
Tippy telemetry. Yeah, great movie. Worth a rewatch. I'll rewatch this one for sure at some point.
Mm-hmm. I have
it's just some really good stuff in it. I got some gripes.
I have two things that I wrote down.
Some minor gripes,
but also kind of minor gripes.
Minor, very nitpicky. Yeah. Go ahead.
Minor. It's not a list. It's just a couple short little paragraphs of sentences. I wrote, "It's really nice to watch a mech being piloted by someone who isn't a whiny little bitch and who thinks their life isn't worth anything." Oh wait. At least Yuhara has some pride and a sense of duty for her country, unlike Shinji. And she's also like less entitled and bratty than Asuka. I'm just like, this is all Evangelion stuff. And then there's the one dude who's like really mad at her randomly for joining. You know, he's just like, you think you're and like they fight or
and
whatever.
They're like beefing.
Yeah. There's always that.
I'm not sure what it added.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the point of that guy was. And then just kind of...
I think the point was to be a foil to the scientist who's like giving her attention and is clearly into her.
Yeah, it's trying to like get in her
like a
get in
contrast
her head a little
of
bit
like,
of like yeah.
No, like literally the scientist needs things to stand up for her for that requires someone to be an antagonist.
So he's a biff.
That's the only reason.
Just to be a biff.
Like if there wasn't that plot thread with the scientist like sort of hitting on her or whatever, or like
the dude wouldn't
whatever
exist.
being into her, whatever, there wouldn't be any need for that other guy. That's why he's 100%. There. So
the other little thing I have is just overall, I wish that the tone was a little less. We're building Kiryu, as a matter of pride for Japan. This is our next, like we're gonna. And I wish it was more like our backs are up against the wall here. We've developed every weapon we could. And now we're going to get into some really weird kind of scary stuff where we're using the skeleton of the 1954 Godzilla. And we really don't want to do this, but like we have to. Like what else can we do? And it's led by some kind of like morally gray, I don't really care. We have to get it done. Like Shinji Ikari's father, Gendo in Evangelion, the dude that's, always sitting there brooding. Like, especially after the Berserk incident, I would have loved to see that kind of like, we're not doing this for the pride of Japan. We're doing this because we have to, but it's like, we're not. This is just kind of weird and creepy. So. That's my biggest True. Like I would change that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to confirm something. Yeah, so I have a little tippy telemetry. I have just a few minor gripes that are like very nitpicky. One is the subtitles in this movie, and this is why I was just checking on something, but I don't know if it was like from the Blu-ray source of this film or if it was subtitled by someone else. There's a lot of like background conversations happening. Maybe not a lot. There's some background conversations in scenes that end up in the subtitles, and it was just distracting. Like where there's like people having a conversation in the background and you could just get like a little bit of subtitles of what they're saying to each other, and like we don't need to know what they're saying. That didn't make sense to me. That's so minor, so nitpicky.
There are 4
but I wrote it down.
There are 4 different DVD releases of this movie from 2003, 5, including the Japanese release with that, but like with English translations and subtitles. There's one done by Universal. There's one done by TriStar. There's one done by some company called Madman DVD. And then there's one done by Sony.
Well, if you relegate that to Blu-ray releases instead, I bet you there's less.
Blu-rays, the Sony one. Sony is a Blu-ray in 2014. And then the other ones are
I believe that's the one.
So
another thing we have in this movie, and this is just, this has been a thing with the TriStar distribution releases, where like the opening credit graphics or like location and date graphics that appear on the screen are in English, but the movie is not in English. This is annoying because it's inconsistent. It's a Japanese movie. Why should like the graphic on the screen be in English? Or sometimes it's both, right? It has both. So there's a weird inconsistency to that where it just like makes zero sense to me. The other gripe with that is that a lot of them are in the lower part of the screen, and the subtitles, if you don't speak Japanese and have the subtitles on, are overlapping with that. So it's just like someone didn't think about this,
Why?
Because if you're releasing a Japanese movie and you're distributing it to the US, people are going to have the subtitles on if they're watching it in Japanese. and you know where they're displayed. So why would you not think about this? I don't know.
I wonder if
It seems like something that would be easy to catch. But
I think Japanese subtitles are displayed vertically on the right.
that I don't know. But again,
And I feel like I saw that at
this is a U.S. distributed movie.
Yeah, I know, but like,
so if you're watching
it was
it in
made in
English,
Japan
you wouldn't have the
originally, and if
subtitles
they
on.
were making it with, because I don't think those were added after. Do you?
What the graphics?
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. They're not.
I'm sure that I would guess that there is a Japanese Blu-ray release of the
That
film.
doesn't have those.
And yeah, the graphics would be in Japanese. I'm assuming. Like, it would have to be. There would be no reason for there to be burned in English graphics in a Japanese movie for any reason. They just wouldn't be that way.
Stranger Things, man. Who knows?
There are some movies we watched where it had both. I want to say there was it some things on -1 or Shin Godzilla where they showed both at the same time. I remember talking about it. Some movie we watched where they were showing something
-1
where the graphics were in. Was it -1?
Yeah.
They have graphics that are in both languages, and so they're just basically embracing. Hey, we know there's two categories of people watching this movie, and we're just going to put both things on
Yeah,
there.
and it was like the Japanese was
fine.
in yellow and the English was in white text. Like,
Yeah, it was cool.
yeah.
I have a few other things, but I mentioned most of them. There's some smoke effects that are composited in this movie for things that are on fire and then they need to go off smoke. And the smoke is not right. It's not right. I'm looking at it literally.
Title.
The smoke is not right. Oh my gosh. People are going to think we hated the movie. That's good. No, looking at it, so it's like in this era, like you have smoke assets, for lack of a better term, that you're compositing into the movie, and they're like these pre-recorded videos, right? And they have like an alpha channel, and it's like just the smoke, and then you have to like have like a blend mode that you assign to that layer that you're compositing over the top, so that it looks like it blends into the scene. I'm saying all of that because I do a lot of photoshopping, and there's a lot of different types of blend modes. And what it looked like to me was it was like some kind of like a multiplying blend mode
Instead of
layer
like,
wise,
yeah,
instead of
an
overlay
Yeah.
blend mode. Like the wrong. So it was like the opacity was right, but the blend mode wasn't right, and it was like there was this weird additive like
You could tell
saturation thing happening
added afterwards and not like an actual like.
but it looked like a mistake because regardless of, I don't think After Effects existed then. I don't know what they were using to composite, whether it was proprietary software or what, but it's just like the blending was not the right mode. It just looked like a mistake. Yeah, and the only other like really gripe is there are a lot of like throughout this film, there's a lot of moments where it's like really specific dialogue conversation. And then the events directly following are very on the nose, that dialogue conversation. It's like at least 3 or 4 times where it's like, hey, let's talk about this specific topic. Oh, wow. That immediately became relevant. And it just...
Like, literally...
That's like maybe like a writing gripe.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first example of that, I think, is...
So...
Is the professor sitting there and like talking with his daughter about how like I can't go do this research because I need to be here for you. You would have to come live at the research center with me. And then
that would be an example.
And then the people show up and are like, "Hey, come live at the research center." Like,
yeah, imagine just here's like a equivalent example. Imagine we're having a conversation and the topic is like, "Hey man, like So what would you do if Godzilla attacked like our town right now? What would you do? Do you have a plan? Like, and we were like talking about it, and like while we're talking about it, a siren goes off, and the loudspeaker is like, Godzilla's attacking. Like, wow, convenient, on the nose, relevance. So those kind of things, like, we're a little like, okay, eye roll, but I think overall it's a great movie. I give it a 4 out of 5.
I also gave it a 4 out of 5, I think. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
I also bought the hat you're wearing while we were talking. So
good. It's a great hat.
Mostly because I know it will fit my head, and I know I'll actually wear it. So, yeah, great movie. There's not a ton of trivia for this movie that I was seeing.
Yeah.
I'm looking through it here, but
I mean,
did you have anything written down for that? Oh, this trivia item actually just reminded me of something, which is that the military guy, he's been in a bunch of Godzilla films. I believe he was he in 85? Or I should say Return of Godzilla, or no. He's for sure in a few of the 90s Godzilla films.
You talk about Iragashi? The guy who's like in charge of everything, like
the guy with sort of the gray hair.
What is his name?
I think
Hayato
so.
Ika.
He's not very high in the billing because it's a pretty minor role.
Oh,
but
okay, never mind.
He's been in a bunch of Godzilla movies.
I remember reading that before, that the director, I don't know, I would have to find it. Wow, hey everybody, welcome to the end of the show here. Oh yeah, no, that's different. There are 3 people from Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla who also have cameo appearances in this film. There was something about this dude reusing Showa era actors intentionally. Like, he had one in Mechagodzilla, he had one in this movie, and one in SOS. And they had all been in movies before and were like older people.
Oh,
now.
I know what I was going to mention. The outgoing prime minister is from Ibira. She was in Ibira. She was, I think, the main one on the island with the other 2 guys who was running around, like the native.
Yeah.
But then she was in Astro Monster. She was in a bunch of stuff. She kept playing like different recurring characters.
Yuriko Hoshi.
But she played,
right?
Her name is Kumi
Mizuno.
Mizuno. Yeah.
There she is.
So
each of Tezuka's each of Tezuka's Godzilla films feature a prominent actor from the Showa era in a supporting role. Yuriko Hoshi, who was in Godzilla vs. Mothra, Godzilla the Three-Headed Monster, or Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. She's in Mechagodzilla. Kumi Mizuno is in Mechagodzilla, and then Hiroshi Koizumi, he is in Godzilla Raids again. He's in Mothra, and then he's in Godzilla Tokyo SOS. So that's cool.
yeah. And if you're into baseball, Hideki Matsui, a famous baseball player who played for the Yankees from 2003 to 2010. He's the one in the brief scene when they're flying Kiryu over that baseball stadium. There's like a shot of him like hitting a home run.
Yeah.
Like that's him hitting this home run. And I know it says here, I don't know, I can't validate any of this stuff, but apparently he has a nickname in Japan of Gojira Matsui. I don't know.
Love it.
Nickname Godzilla Gojira. I don't know why he has that nickname, but Anyways, great movie.
Yeah. Hey, we keep doing this thing where we forget to talk about our Patreon after we start the episode. So, if you would like to see anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes of extra content at the beginning of the episode, and I even cut stuff out here in the middle sometimes too, you can join our Patreon. We have a Patreon, and it isn't, I mean, it's there mostly because I have all of this stuff anyways, and why not see some extra funny bits if you want to? But you have to give us money for that because I will not be laughed at for free more than I already allow. So it's $1 a month. You can go to patreon.com/the one about Godzilla movies, and you get the episodes a little bit early too. I try to post them a couple days before everything else goes out on YouTube or whatever. And yeah, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Next movie, Godzilla Tokyo SOS from 2003. We are nearing the end of movies for us to watch in general, but that doesn't mean we have to stop. Anything else to say, Counselor?
Yeah, every episode I make a thumbnail for our episode, and in scrubbing through the video, I've discovered that you make a lot of interesting faces, and my face is unchanging for most of the episode.
And the best part is that like when I get going on a rant about something or like I'm really talking, you look bored to death, and I'm like, I need to stop talking.
My resting face looks so bored. It's just my resting face.
So next time I go on a rant about something,
when I'm looking for a thumbnail, I'm like
a window over your face so I can't see you, and I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah, I've discovered that like my face looks. I only have 2 options in the episode. My face looks like this in the thumbnail. It looks like that, or I'm like this. Those are the options. So, anyways, to end the episode, I thought I'd go 3, 2, 1. Make your thumbnail face. All right, 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna use that. This has been the One About Godzilla Movies. Thank you. Goodbye.